recording this for our attendance. And now I will take a photo. No? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. Last photo. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we are now moving to the last session for our third Saturday, and this will be the charting and recording. No? So we will end always with how to chart and how to record. But again, let's have a quick review of the different rules of the Billings ovulation method. EDR1, avoid intercourse during the days of bleeding, menstruation. EDR2, alternate evenings are available during the days of the BIP. EDR3, there are two types. Avoid intercourse during the days of discharge, leading to a peak, including the first 3 days of what? Of the luteal. On the 4th day past the peak, apply the peak rule every day at any time. Okay, huh? Now, what is the other EDR3? Avoid intercourse during the days of discharge. If mucus will not end in slippery and there is no peak and BIP returns, allow 3 days of BIP. On the 4th BIP, apply EDR2, alternate evenings. No? So avoid intercourse during the days of mucus, which did not end with a slippery sensation and with a bleeding. Allow 3 days of BIP. When BIP returns, on the 4th day, apply EDR2 or alternate evenings. And the last one is the peak rule. The peak rule can only be applied if there is a peak. So intercourse is available every day at any time, beginning from where? From the 4th day past the peak day. So with this, we can now proceed to the charting. Okay? So again, the Billings ovulation method is based on the studies conducted by Drs. John and Evelyn Billings, together with Professor James Brown and Eric Odeblad. So I'm very happy, no, and privileged meeting all these people, no, when I was still studying in Melbourne University, no, and also in the Ovulation Method Research and Reference Center in Australia. Okay, so how to observe mucus and how to chart, no, that will be our last topic for this morning. But before that, let's try to look at this sample chart, no? This sample chart is not using any color, but it uses the symbols. What are the symbols? The shaded circle, the 3 dots for spotting, the vertical line for what? The vertical line for the dry days, and circle for the presence of mucus, and X for the peak day. Okay? Now, the days of menstruation would be on days 1 until 4. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 are days of menstruation. So 4 days of menstruation all in all. Day 5 is no longer menstruation because the sensation is dry. That is dry spotting. Day 5 is the beginning of the BIP, and BIP ends on day 12. If intercourse will take place on the night of day 5, the next intercourse would be day 7 at night, then day 9 at night, then day 11 at night, no? So applying the alternate evenings. If no intercourse on day 5, but intercourse happens on day 6 at night, so day 6 at night, followed by day 8 at night, then day 10 at night, then day 12 at night. This is how you apply alternate evenings. Is this clear? Okay, let's proceed. Day 13 is the beginning of the first appearance of mucus. It starts with a sticky sensation with a cloudy appearance. The following day, it becomes wet, but the appearance is still cloudy. On day 15, the sensation is wet and the appearance is clear like water. Day 16, the sensation is wet and then the appearance is clear. Then day 17, wet, clear, no? And SL there means slippery. I cannot write the entire word slippery. It is because it's too long. SL means slippery. And then suddenly, she thought that 17 is the peak day. But on the 18th day, it's not yet the last day. 17 is not yet the last day of slippery. Because 18, it's still slippery, no? And then 19 becomes dry. The moment 19 is already dry, the mother goes back to day 18 and mark day 18 with an X. Day 18 is the last day of the slippery sensation because 19 it's already dry. 18 is the peak day. And look how long is the luteal phase. The luteal phase is what? Is 15 days all in all. It is within the range 11 to 16 days. Then 34, there is a shaded circle, menstruation. Question now, I want to have an answer, yes or no. Is the bleeding on day 34 a menstruation? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, it is a menstruation. Now you can identify menstruation because of what reason? Because it is preceded by a peak.
It is a peak.
There is an ovulation and at the same time, there is a luteal phase, no? And the luteal phase, if you will go to letter B, go. How many days is the luteal? 15. Where is the peak day? The peak day is on day what?
18.
Day
18.
Good, no? Day 18. So the peak rule begins on day 22. Intercourse is resumed on day 22, 23, 24 until 33. Every day at any time, no? So that is what we call the chart. So take note that the chart begins on day 1 to day 35. If your menstruation is within the 35 day, your cycle is average. If your menstruation will fall on day 19, day 20, you are having a short cycle, no BIP. If your menstruation will go beyond the 35-day cycle, the definition now is a long cycle. Short, within 20 or 19, no? Menstruation will now commence. But if your menstruation will commence closer to day 35, that is an average cycle. But if your bleeding or menstruation will commence beyond the 35, then it is a long cycle. But the question is, what makes a cycle normal pattern? The presence of a peak day. No? Mucus undergoes a developing pattern from a sticky ending with a slippery sensation. This is another sample chart. This is the assessment, no, submitted to me during the third batch. And you will be submitting to me similar to this one, no, for your assessment, which will be given today via Messenger. And you need to submit to me the assessment via email, no? Because we don't have a Google Classroom right now, no? So just as simply a sample. Now, for those couples who would approach you, no, and will ask for assistance regarding charting, you need to give them the form, no? Ask the couple to complete the Billings Ovulation Method form. All of this, you will be receiving this when you reach the 5th Saturday of our teacher training course, no? So the form will include all pertinent details about our client. The name, the age, if they have previous contraceptives, if they are diagnosed with certain diseases, everything will be included in this particular form. This form is highly confidential. It is only between the teacher and then the client. Okay? So after completing the form, the BOM teacher now, the accredited BOM teacher, will explain the following: the 4 cycles using the slide rule, the 4 phases of the cycle, mens, BIP, the changing pattern of fertility, luteal. Explain all the rules and instruct the couple on how to observe the mucus and how to chart accurately. Take note to record the most fertile observation in the entire day. What is the meaning of that? For example, when you rise in the morning, you are dry. Do not record immediately. Recording is always in the evening. You are dry in the morning, but suddenly at 10 a.m., there is already the appearance of mucus. So you need to record the mucus when you reach 6 p.m. or before going to bed, no? So recording is always in the evening. When you say dry, you are dry morning until evening, no? So that's the meaning. Now, take note of this rule. In the first charting, couples are requested to abstain from genital contact for 2 weeks. Why 2 weeks? Because this rule is for the first world country, wherein when the couple enters the clinic, no? So they will be given instruction regarding the Billings ovulation method. They will be asked to chart for 2 weeks. And while charting for 2 weeks, they don't have any communication with the teacher. The teacher, during the initial instruction inside the clinic, will inform the couple, please go back after 2 weeks, no? So that will be the initial instruction. They need to go back. The initial instruction, no, will be what? Will be within that day, and then after that, the couple must go back to the clinic after 2 weeks of charting. Not like in the Philippines setup. We accompany the couples day by day, meaning we know what is happening. When the couple asks for assistance, we don't ask the couple to go back after 2 weeks. But the communication is open. We accompany them day by day by means of a message, by text, messenger, or what we call this, virtual, no, messenger, no, you talk via messenger. So you accompany them or via face-to-face if the client is only your neighbor, no? So again, during the initial instruction, we use the following colors and symbols. Red for bleeding, symbol shaded circle. Dotted 3 dots for spotting. The color green means dry. What is the meaning of color green? Nothing is seen. Nothing is felt. Totally dry. Or a vertical line. Then the circle would be for what? For the mucus secretion. And then you have X for the peak day, and then I for intercourse. If you are using the Billings app, no, that I asked you to download, then you will have all these colors and symbols available for you, no? Okay, let's continue. Now, how to observe mucus. As the woman walks about, she can tell when menstruation begins. She feels wet at the vulva. When she looks, she sees blood. This is how the woman would observe menstrual bleeding. Even blind people, no, women will be able to identify the sensation at the vulva. But for those who can use the sense of sight, they will be able to see that there is a what? A bleeding. In the same natural way, she senses the presence of the mucus when it arrives at the vulva. Similar to menstruation, the moment she feels wet at the vulva or sticky, then that is an indication that there is a discharge, no? In the same natural way, she senses the presence of the mucus when it arrives at the vulva and notices how it changes in both the sensation and appearance during the different phases of her cycle. She would be able to identify through her vulva whether the sensation is sticky, wet, or slippery. No need to use the fingers to identify sensation. That is not the correct way. If you can see that in Google or in the net, no, that is not the proper way. The proper way would be allow the vulva to be able to sense correctly the sensation of the mucus. Either it is sticky, wet, or slippery. The nerve endings of the fingers are not sensitive enough. Take note, not sensitive enough to identify the authentic sensation. So never use the fingers in identifying sensation. There is an organ assigned for that, and that is the vulva. Okay? Sperm cells live in the mucus. If there is mucus, the sperm will survive. You are able to study that during the first Saturday, no? The mucus tells the woman when she can conceive and when she cannot conceive, no? So the mucus, an indicator of fertility. Now let's begin the charting, okay? The data would be a 20-year-old woman, and the couple would be postponing pregnancy, no history of hormonal contraceptives. Give the chart 1 to 35. What to do? Orient the couple about the Billings ovulation method, the 4 phases. Teach the rules. Teach the basic symbols that I inform you. Do not teach the yellow or the equal sign. Take note, do not teach the yellow or the equal sign. Only the one which is required. Start the charting. Do not wait for the menstruation. Immediately ask them to start the charting. Do not ask them, oh, we will wait for your menstruation. Or what happens if the menstruation will commence after 2 months? Okay? So the charting must immediately take place, whether without a bleeding or with a bleeding. So let's look now the chart of this woman. So the charting begins last June 5, no? So this is not 2022 but 2020. June 5, dry. Nothing is seen. Color green, vertical line. The last row there, written there, dry. What advice? Because it is the first charting, the advice would be abstain, no? It is a day by day. We need to look for the patterns of infertility. How to identify if there is already infertility or the pattern of infertility is already happening? We need to know if the cervix is already closed. Okay? And the only thing for us to know the cervix, the only thing that we can know that the cervix is completely closed if we are able to accumulate 3 days of dry. Do not ask the client what happens on June 4, what happens on June 3, what happens on June 2. Let's begin on June 5. Whatever happens before June 5, we are sure that the cervix is closed if we are able to complete 3 days of dry. Okay? So now, June 5, dry, abstain. First day of dry. June 6, morning dry, afternoon dry, evening dry. The mother now made a recording, dry, June 6. The recording is always at night. And then what will be your advice? You are now able to have 2 days of dry. We need to have another one to be sure that the cervix is completely closed. Whatever happens on June 4 or whatever happens before June 5, the most important for us to know would be the pattern of infertility. We will be able to know that you are truly infertile if the cervix is completely closed. And we want to be sure. We want to be sure. That's why we need the 3 days of dry. Day 3, but June 7. June 7, morning dry, afternoon dry, evening dry. Recording takes place at night, dry. And what will be your advice? Abstain, June 7. Let us wait for June 8. If June 8, you will be dry the entire morning until evening, then June 8, we are now very, very sure that the cervix is completely closed. We are able to what? To have 3 days of dry. On June 8, if you are dry, you can now apply what rule? Because these are dry days. What kind of dry? I want to have an answer from the class. Is it BIP or luteal? Anybody? Are you tired now? Let's revive our energy. What will be your answer? There's an answer in the chat box. It is what? So it is a BIP, no? It is BIP. So if it is BIP, we need to apply alternate evenings, EDR2. Let's try to check what happens on day 8, June 8. June 8, we have now dry. Morning until evening. Look at the symbol, capital letter I. There is an intercourse on June 8. If there will be an intercourse in June 8, absolutely the sperm cannot enter because the cervix is completely closed. What will happen? The sperm now will be dislodged the moment the mother rise from the bed on the following day. So the following day is June 9. June 9, okay, there's something wrong here, no? June 9, June 9, there is what? Wet. It is supposed to be wet. Let me correct this one, no? So we need to correct this immediately, no? So it is, no, June 9, it is wet. Okay, wet seminal fluid, no? So from the current slide. Okay, so June 9, wet seminal fluid. The symbol now will be equal sign. So the couple now will abstain on June 9 because of the wet sensation due to seminal fluid. Take note of the symbol, circle. Now what happens on June 10? June 10, dry, nothing is seen. If it is dry until evening, what will be the advice? The couple now can have an intercourse, no? The couple now will have an intercourse. EDR2 again, alternate evenings. If intercourse will happen at night of date of June 10, the sperm cannot enter because the cervix is completely closed. So what will happen now? The moment the mother rise from the bed, the following day, June 11, the sensation now will be wet. And the wet sensation is due to seminal fluid. But pagising niya ng day 11, June 11, she was surprised. Yes, she is wet, but there is a bleeding. Now, my question is this. Is this bleeding a menstruation? Yes or no? Can we make a sound conclusion that this is a menstruation? Yes or no? Anybody? According to Dr. Joy, I was able to check his mouth. No. It is not, even though it is a menstruation, we will say no. Why? Because we know the definition of menstruation. A menstruation is preceded by a peak. Do we see a peak in the chart? Oh, we don't see any peak. So our decision would be, this is not a menstruation. If this is not a menstruation, maybe a withdrawal bleed. If this is not a menstruation, the moment the woman becomes dry, then if it is not a menstruation, then the dry days is not absolutely closed, no? It is only during menstruation, wherein after menstruation, the cervix is closed. If it is not a menstruation, we need to allow 3 days of dry again. So June 11, wet bleed. We apply EDR3, not EDR1. EDR1 is what? Avoid intercourse during the days of menstruation. But this is not a menstruation. EDR3, avoid intercourse during the days of discharge or withdrawal bleed. Diba? So this is a withdrawal bleed, EDR3. What happens now on June 12? June 12, bleeding, shaded circle. Again, this is not a menstruation in our own interpretation. June 13, with bleeding again, not again a menstruation, EDR3. June 14, bleeding, not menstruation, because looking at the chart, there is no peak day. And then June 15, wet bleeding again. No? So EDR3, avoid intercourse during the days of discharge and bleeding. What kind of bleeding? Withdrawal bleed. So no genital contact from June 11 until June 15. June 16, dry. Wow. But because 11 to 15 is not a menstruation, then June 16, even though it is dry, we know that the cervix is still open. No? Because the cervix will only be totally closed if the dry days is after menstruation. This is not. So we advise the couple, count 1, 2, 3 before resuming the intercourse. EDR3 again, because EDR3 after mucus, 1, 2, 3. After withdrawal bleed, 1, 2, 3. EDR3. What happens now on June 17? Dry, second day. June 18, dry, third day. Now, what will be our advice? If June 19, you will totally be dry morning until evening, then you can now have intercourse on June 19 at night. Apply the alternate evenings. June 19, dry. The couple now, they had an intercourse at night. If intercourse take place at night, June 20, what will happen? Cervix is closed during June 19. So June 20, the sperm cannot enter. No, June 19, it will be dislodged on June 20, the moment the mother rises from the bed. June 20, wet seminal fluid. Take note of the symbol, circle, basa, wet, seminal fluid, abstain, because the rule says alternate evenings. June 21, dry again. So intercourse is resumed at night. If intercourse take place at night, sperm cannot enter. It will be dislodged the following day, the moment the mother rises from the bed. June 22, wet seminal fluid, abstain because of the presence of the discharge. Day 19 or June 23, sticky cloudy. Okay? If there is already the appearance of mucus, apply what rule? EDR3. What is EDR3? Avoid intercourse during the days of mucus. Mucus starts to appear on June 23. Let us now continue. So no genital contact on June 23. That will be our advice. June 24, wet cloudy. EDR3, no genital contact. Circle ang symbol or white color. June 25, June 24 and 25, wet, clear, watery. The mucus becomes wet. Not only wet, but very clear like water. EDR3, no genital contact. June 26, slippery. Wow, that is the one that we are waiting. Mucus is undergoing a developing pattern from a sticky sensation ending with a slippery. Is June 26 the peak day? No one knows. We need to know what will happen on June 27. If June 27 is dry, then June 26 is the last day of the slippery sensation. We can now what? We can now place an X. But let's see what will happen on June 27. Again, EDR3, no genital contact. June 27, slippery. So meaning, June 26 is not the last day. The vulva is swollen and there is the presence of the lymph node. I will explain the lymph node next Saturday, no? EDR3, no genital contact. Is June 27 the last day? We will know. June 28, dry. If June 28 dry, you go back to 27, mark 27 with an X. And now the mother will be able to know that June 27 is the possible day of ovulation. The last day, that is the peak day. Now we need to wait for 3 more days before intercourse is resumed. 28 is dry, the first day of the luteal. 29 dry, second day of the luteal. June 30, the third day of dry after peak day, the third day of the luteal phase. What will be our advice for July 1? Listen, this is the advice. The moment you reach 12:01 of July 1, 12:01, no? No need for you to be dry morning, afternoon, evening. No, after the third day, starting on 12:01, intercourse is already available every day at any time. The recording is no longer be at night. We only do that before the peak day. But after the peak day, on the fourth day, especially 12:01, that is the start of July 1, you can now have intercourse. Okay? So intercourse July 1, but not 12:01. They have it at night, no, because they are totally sleeping. This is the peak rule. Every day at any time. If intercourse happens on July 1, okay, of course, the sperm cannot enter. The cervix is closed. It will be dislodged maybe on the same day until the following day. So July 2, sabi niya, dry. But the seminal fluid is visible. How come it is dry? Attention, this is a review. Seminal fluid in the luteal phase would be dry sensation. Why? Because progesterone is high during the luteal phase. But during the BIP, there is no progesterone. That is why the sensation of the seminal fluid is wet. The symbol is circle. Now you will teach the couple. The sensation is dry, but you see a discharge, seminal fluid. Do not use a green or a vertical line, because color green or vertical line means you are dry and you don't see any discharge. Nothing is seen, nothing is felt. But this one, you feel dry, but there is a discharge. The symbol is equal for the seminal fluid in the luteal phase or color yellow. Can I hear the word yes if this is clear? They are a thumbs up. Very good. Okay. Now let's continue. July 2, there is again an intercourse because intercourse is available every day, anytime. If there is an intercourse in July 2, automatic July 3, the seminal fluid will be visible, but the sensation is dry. What symbol? Equal or yellow color. But again, July 3, there is an intercourse. If there is an intercourse on July 3, seminal fluid will be available on July 4, but the sensation is dry. If the sensation is dry and you see a visible discharge like the seminal fluid, you don't use color green or vertical line. You use a color yellow. Color yellow means dry but with a discharge, no? Now, July 4, there is again an intercourse, no? Of course, July 5, there will be a seminal fluid. That's why the symbol is equal or yellow. But look at July 5. No, the couple is very, very tired, no? And the couple decided not to have intercourse on July 5. If there will be no intercourse on July 5, the following day, July 6, then there will be no seminal fluid because there is no intercourse on July 5. So what happens now on July 6? July 6, dry. Okay. Look at the color, green, vertical line, because it is dry and no discharge. But July 6, the couple decided to continue or to resume their sexual intercourse. There is a sexual intercourse on July 6. If there is an intercourse on July 6, seminal fluid now will be available on July 7. So because of the presence of the seminal fluid and the sensation is dry, we cannot use the green color, but yellow and with an equal sign. July 7. Intercourse again takes place on July 7. July 8, there is what we call a seminal fluid. Attention, class. The sensation now is wet. If the luteal phase will experience a wet sensation, it means menstruation is about to commence. How come there is already a wet sensation? Because progesterone and estrogen is dropping. The moment these two hormones begins to drop, the woman now will experience a wet sensation in the luteal phase. It is an indication that what? That menstruation is about to come. Look at the color, brownish. Brownish is not yet the menstruation. Brownish is part of the luteal phase. July 8. Look at the symbol of July 8. Equal. Any discharge in the luteal phase is always equal. And intercourse was resumed July 8, no? There is an intercourse on July 8, no? So what happens on July 9? July 9, heavy bleeding. Okay, my question is this, yes or no? Is July 9 menstruation? Yes or no, or with a thumbs up? Yes, it is a menstruation. I'll check the chat box. Yes, no? According to our Davao, according to Nida, to Dr. Joy, to Tita Cecil, Larison, to Vicente, to Heide, no? So all the replies, and to Demi and Brother Demi, no? Yes, it is, and Aileen, no? Yes, it is a menstruation. What makes it a menstruation? Because there is a peak day. The peak day happens on June 27. If there is a peak day, automatic, there is a menstrual bleeding that will commence. So this is a new cycle. So if this is a new cycle, we need to place this in a new chart. This is July 9 menstruation. If it is a menstruation, we apply EDR1. Avoid intercourse during the days of bleeding. July 9. No genital contact for the couple. July 10, menstruation, EDR1. July 11, menstruation, EDR1. July 12, menstruation, EDR1. And then July 13, spotting, dry. July 13 is the beginning of the BIP. If July 9 to July 12 is a menstruation, look at me at the camera, no? If it is menstruation, it means the first dry after menstruation, the cervix is completely what? Closed. Okay? It is completely closed. No need to count 1, 2, 3. The reason behind we count 1, 2, 3 in after July 11 to 15. We count 1, 2, 3 because we are not sure whether June 11 to June 15 if these days are menstruation, no? We are not sure. That's why we count 1, 2, 3. But because July 9 until July what? July 12, we are very sure that this is a menstruation validated by the presence of a peak day. The first dry after menstruation is BIP, completely closed. Intercourse can now take place July 13 at night, but no intercourse at July 13. The couple decided to have intercourse on July 14 at night. So if there is an intercourse, the following day, seminal fluid. The symbol of seminal fluid will be what? Anybody? What do you think? Equal or circle? The symbol is circle because this is BIP. We only use equal or yellow color for the seminal fluid sa luteal phase, no? So circle. But look what happens on July 14. July 14 to July 28, no recording due to emergency. The wife needs to what? To bring the sick child to the hospital, and the wife stays in the hospital. Kaya walang intercourse. No intercourse. Why? Because the wife is in the hospital together with the husband. No? So no recording, no charting within the following days. And then after July 28, after July 28, they were back at home. Nadala na ang baby. The baby is back at home. The baby is healthy again. The recording of the mother, July 29, is dry. What can you recommend? Are you recommending them to have an intercourse? No, because you don't have any data. What happens on July 14 to July 28? If no data, maybe July 28, there is a mucus. Maybe July 27, no data. How to accompany now the couple so that they can have intercourse without expecting any pregnancy? Always go to the science. Because there are no recordings, then we need to begin again. Let us have 3 days of dry, EDR3, 1, 2, 3. After the 3 days of dry, on the 4th day, we need to apply the EDR2, not PEAK rule, because there is no peak, no visible data. So 29 dry, 30 dry, July 31 dry, August 1 dry. Intercourse resume at night, alternate evenings. Okay, alternate evenings. July 2, dry seminal fluid. Bakit? Wow, it is dry. Maybe that is luteal. Even though it is dry, the symbol will be equal because we are treating those days as BIP days. But the teacher now is surprised. How come the sensation is dry? The seminal fluid can only be dry during the luteal. So these are luteal days, but we don't have any data. We know because of what is happening, dry SF, we know it is luteal, but because of the absence of data, July 14 to July 28, we are treating these dry days as BIP. If this is BIP, alternate evenings. August 3, dry, intercourse is resumed at night. August 4, dry seminal fluid, alternate evenings. August 5, dry again, intercourse at night. August 6, dry seminal fluid. August 7, dry, intercourse at night. August 8, heavy bleeding. Now, question. Is this bleeding a menstruation? So even though we are sure maybe it is a menstruation, but in the absence of a peak, we will not consider this as menstruation. So after menstruation, 1, 2, 3, then alternate evenings again. In this way, we can now accompany the couples, what? In postponing pregnancy accurately. So this is our last session for today. Stop sharing. Do you have any questions? So 11:28. Yes, Dr. Joy, you may switch on your camera. I'll unmute you.
Doc, can we?
Yes. Sorry, you can unmute yourself again.
Okay. Can we go back to the chart on July 8? I think that was July 8.
Okay, let me share again the. So where is it? Share July 8. No? Okay, let me go. Okay. So
July 8.
Yes, July 8.
Shouldn't it be colored yellow?
Yes, it is color yellow. Sorry, color yellow. Let us correct it now. No, the symbol is correct, equal. No, but we will correct it now. Sorry. Okay, sorry. Share again. Okay, I will
Okay.
make it color yellow.
Okay. Then I have another question with regards to is this I know, June 8th. June 8th.
Okay, I'll correct this first. Now let's convert it
Okay.
into yellow. So thank you for that. Okay, yellow. Okay, let us. Okay. Okay, it's already yellow. Thank you, Dr. Joy. And then what
Okay.
else?
With regards to June 8th.
June 8th. June
Okay.
8th. No, June 8th. Yes, June
I
8th.
have, after the 3 days
Yes.
abstaining, if they will have intercourse, it should be at what
Night.
time? 6
Between
o'clock
6
or
to
12
12.
o'clock?
6
to
between 6
12.
to 12, no?
Yeah, yeah.
So not 12:01. So when we speak of night now, we have a time frame, no?
Yeah.
6 p.m. until 12 midnight. Even though 12:05 it's still considered to be night, no? But it is already what? June 9, no? June 9, no?
Yeah.
So thank you, Dr. Joy. So take note that it is
Thank you.
always within the time frame of night, 6 p.m. up to 12 midnight, because 12:01 is the beginning of a new day. Okay, more other questions. What if on the 5th day of menstruation is still heavy and the spotting takes place on the 7th day or 8th day, no? So then, so what if on the 5th day, so let us go to that, no? Let me, okay. So for example, if the menstruation will still be on July 5, then abstain on July 5, no? And then if the spotting is wet, abstain. We will only consider the spotting as a BIP, no, Nestle, if the spotting is already dry after
The
menstruation.
next day.
Okay? Did I answer your question? Okay. So other questions, please. Let me check the chat box if there are other questions. No? Okay. So anyway, this is recorded. Please try to go back and review again. No? I will be posting in our messenger our first assessment, okay, and the charting. No, you answer the following and to be submitted, okay, Friday next week. No, kaya matagal, you have a lot of time. No, okay. There's a question, July 14. Okay, let's try to check the July 14. Okay, July 14, no? So July 14, we have already dry. And July 14, we can have intercourse. Sorry. Yes, dalawa pala yung July 14. But anyway, we will stop on July 14. No more data after July. Okay. So thank you for that. No? So take note, no? July 14 is double. No? But we don't have any data on the other July 14. So that should be July 15 to July 28. So thank you for that. Thank you, Eileen, for the correction. Okay, any more questions? So if not, we will call this a day. No, you can have now your lunch.